Hey guys, welcome back. Robocraft Early Access coverage. This is episode 68. I'm Igneous, and today it's our Tier 10 Armor Core Gunbed. In its very first match, you can see it's got a little bit of an issue with the flipping and the flopping. When you start moving, it kind of wants to rear up, and then when you stop, it kind of wants to nosedive. Trust me, it doesn't get any better for a little while. Now, this very first match that I brought this bot into, what I really wanted to do was go press my face up against a bunch of guns and see how long I lived. That's basically the full extent of the plan. So I'm doing my best to get up to the front before everyone gets kind of blocked in and crowded around so that I can't get through. Fortunately, it's just the hovers that got there first, so I can kind of scoot in under them. Got a railgunner up there. He's taken all the shots, and I'm doing my best to kind of discourage him from doing that, because it's a little too early for that. You know, save it for once I get established and kind of set up in front of all these baddies up here. At this point, there's kind of looking like the enemy is going to be grouping up here to some extent. We've got a couple of medics. We've got a bunch of guys kind of zipping around, and now they've all decided to shoot at me, and I'm quite happy with that, because this is the acid test for a bot like this. When we built it to sustain or, you know, absorb a certain amount of punishment without flying to pieces, it's kind of a good opportunity to test it when the enemy is all shooting at you. But then I kind of ducked back for a second. I was noticing my hull depleting, and I kind of ducked back a little bit to maybe soak a bit of healing, and that's when everything changed. And, I mean, we took a pretty good beating. We took sustained fire from a number of bots for numerous seconds. And now we've still got guns, we're still able to fire, but we've only got 2 wheels left on the back of the bot. So the goal being to actually be able to maneuver and fight. Maybe not doing so well at this point because we're twisted sideways. So you can see we've got this gun on the left side, which is now facing us. It's not really able to do anything because I can't turn. We only had steering wheels on the front. And this is our penance for building that way. The plasma is lobbing stuff down on us. Now I've got at least a couple of guns. I'm oriented a little bit better. 2 guns really isn't enough to mount much of an offense. So that was kind of the end of that. That is a test to see how long we could last. I think we did okay. There's room for some adjustments. However, there's definitely room for some adjustments, and I just kind of wanted to watch after that match and see how everyone else was doing. I did not get a hero bonus from that match, I should point out. Now here's one of the better ones. Again, nice big open area to kind of get a feel for what we can do, what we can take by way of punishment. Fortunately, and I say fortunately, our team was kind of derpy, and I'm kind of stopped here, and I'm thinking, yeah, it's great to go face tank, but if I'm the only one doing it, then it kind of defeats the purpose. You know, when you're absorbing damage like that, what it means is that all the other friendly bots around you are able to do damage without having to worry about taking a lot themselves. That's one of the benefits of being able to soak a lot of damage and draw a lot of attention to yourself. So I'm just kind of sitting here shooting across the valley, seeing what happens, what materializes, and then I look up at the map, and my entire damn team is taking their sweet ass time along the west flank. They're basically, they haven't even made it out of the north lane yet. So I decided that it would probably be best if I joined them, as opposed to trying to push up the the east flank in a much smaller group, in a much more scattered group. I figured I'd join up with these guys and see how far we could go. Most of the enemy ends up going that way, in the direction that I'm shooting, and it's just one of those situations where you kind of wish people would just give a little bit of thought to where they're going at the beginning of the match, and if they're going to go somewhere, do it decisively. You know, get moving. Don't just sit on your hands and wait for the enemy to kind of get set up wherever they want to go, and then dawdle out to meet them. That's how we lose. I've seen worse. I've definitely seen worse. But this is not the best example of how to get set up in the early goings of any given match. Now, there's basically not much more than a chair with a gun on it up there, the plasma guy. I'm well suited as long as I can get my aim right to taking him out. And it seems like every time we stop and shoot at him, that's when we tag him. So we managed to get rid of that guy. Poor little bastard. Build a better bot. And then we got this guy over here who's kind of flanked now. He's not in the best way. This is the situation that everyone loves to be in when you're the ones doing the flanking, when it's you being flanked, it's kind of frustrating. But this guy, he's decided to go head-to-head. Not the best. He's already been in a skirmish, and he's going up against probably one of the beefiest bots on our team, which is me. And now he slinks away. And see what I mean? I move forward a bit, and I stop, and it tips forward, and then I try to go, and it tips back. It's very, very difficult to control. So there's a couple of things going on as far as all that happens. One is the moving and the tipping is kind of less than ideal, and the other is when we're face tanking things, we lose our front wheels, and then we lose our ability to steer, and that kind of it takes too long for medics to repair us, not because the medic's doing anything wrong, but just because we've got so much mass. So I kind of decided that it would make sense to do something about that. Now, people had mentioned previously to use steering wheels on the front and the back. So that's what I did. I had made the RP, I'd earned the RP that I could afford to buy another set of steering wheels, and I put them on the back, and this is what I get. This is what it looks like after adding steering wheels to the back. So now I've got them on the front and the back, and this thing is almost uncontrollable. It's just there's only so much you can do in a situation like this, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, it's not a big deal. We're gonna get up to the front, and we're gonna do what we can, because that's what this bot is apparently looking to be fairly good at. The difficulty is getting to the front is sort of the thing. So then there's this guy sitting right in the middle of the bridge, and he's reversing. So I'm trying to get out of his way and at the same time position myself so that I can get past him, and I end up basically involuntarily turning 90 degrees, and then I try and move and get up the side. I finally get going, and here's this guy again in the goddamn way. So I try and turn out of the way, and bam, I'm into the rocks, and then I'm steering one way and going the other, and it's, wow. This is what I get for putting steering wheels on the back end of the bot. Now, again, a part of the problem is that every time I move, if I go from a complete stop to moving, or from moving to a complete stop, the bot tips. And we lose a lot of control that way. I'm trying to get around this bastard that's sitting in the opening, but I can't even get my bot turned the way I need it to go. I have to move forward such a small amount and then tip, and then it's a bad situation. And I'm putting 99% of the blame of this on me, because I can't control my bot. And no one's responsible for making sure I can control my bot except for me. But at the same time, it's really kind of emphasized the importance of not taking up the center of a narrow lane like this guy did, because he completely blocked my ability to get around him without having to do all these crazy maneuvers. So now I'm taking all kinds of fire from one side. I've got at least 2 medics beating on me, and I'm shooting in the other direction, and I'm just kind of thinking to myself, like, oh well, we'll see how long we last. The whole enemy team is right there, and now that I've got rid of a lot of the mass on top of the bot, it controls a lot better. It maneuvers so much better, so much easier once I got rid of a lot of the mass on the top of the bot. So big kudos to the enemy team for helping me with that. But you can see it's still doing a little bit of tipping, a little bit of misbehaving, because we've still got on the back end there a fair bit of mass up top. And the medic, he's doing the best he can, but it's a pretty tall order. There's only so much you can do in a situation like this. So I'm kind of limited in terms of my offensive capabilities. We've got one guy on the far side of the map apparently trying to cap. We've got our medic, instead of... There's a time and a place to abandon the repair process, Mr. Medic, to take an offensive role against an enemy bot, and that wasn't it. He should have kept repairing the bots around him and trying to get some more proper guns active to fight off that enemy medic. That was kind of silly. So now I'm thinking to myself, I got no guns, I got no medic. I can sit there and wait to be destroyed, or I can go on a little cruise. You'll notice I'm driving in reverse this whole trip. I decided to go on a little cruise and see if I can't finish the capture process, because something happened that left it at half of a segment. Normally when someone gets off the circle, it'll start to degrade slowly until it empties that segment, but in this case it just stayed there, and I don't know if it's a bug or a glitch or what's going on. But I decided to drive over and find out. And I'm so happy to be finally driving in a straight direction. I'm afraid that if I stop to try and turn around and drive forward, that I'm just going to get wedged in a little narrow lane again, and that'll be game over. So I'm more than happy to continue driving backwards all the way back to the enemy base. And I kind of had a feeling that there would be an enemy here doing something, because normally if you're capping and you're very close to winning the match, you don't just abandon the circle and wander off. So it's an enemy medic up here, and he spotted me. And I thought, oh well, like I say, our options are limited. We're not just going to sit here running around in circles trying to avoid the enemy until they either catch me or the match times out or they cap. We might as well try and do the most useful thing we can, which is cap. And so I get on the circle and I'm thinking he's going to go after me any second. He's having a chat. He's having a think. Oh, he spotted me. There we go. Took him a while, I guess, to figure out what the hell he wanted to do. So I'm just doing donuts, having a little fun. There we go. Finally. What a bastard. There's only so much we can do. Now, this would be, I think this is actually the 6th match that I ended up doing in this bot. I haven't changed it since I added the rear steering wheels, and I decided to give it another go, but again, it's all over the damn place. The issue is that the wheels are all too close together. We have this bot that's got a fairly large wheelbase, side to side and front to back, but we're not taking advantage of it. And the idea with having the wheels closer in towards the center is that if you wanted to destroy the wheels, you would have to dig a lot longer to get to him. This guy here, I don't know, is like the black and the pink and the yellow. It's like a bipolar pride parade. And he's having some issues, it would appear, because he's just sitting there in the way. I don't know what's, and then eventually he's going to self-destruct here, and then we'll be able to get past him. Well, you see, my bot's not doing much better. You know, I have to be a little bit cautious about the criticism. We got this guy flying around. Those are the guys complaining, oh, Flyer's too fragile, help us. So just moving up, doing what I can. Still not really feeling like I have much control over my bot at all. It just kind of goes where it wants to go and does what it wants to do. So, as usual, trying our best to push up to the front to actually take up a useful position. And then these guys just kind of start dicking around with us over this ridge. They kind of fly up and then they shoot and then they duck back down again, and then they fly up and they shoot and they duck back down again. They've got a medic, at least one medic back there that's helping them out. And I don't realize, but there's another bomber actually behind me that's bombing us. But because the plasma is hitting us on the front, the splash, it makes it look like it's one of the guys up there. So he's doing a pretty good job of keeping a low profile and not drawing attention to himself. It's not necessarily to say that I'm, super enthusiastic about this whole thing. But then he makes a really dumb mistake, and he pulls out directly in front of me. Which is... I don't know if he's just cocky. I don't know if he lost control of his bot, but it was probably the worst thing he could have done. So now we're back to the forward shooting. Help me, flyers are too weak. Oh, they shoot me once and I fall out of the sky. This guy just will not die. It is one of the most obnoxious kinds of bots because it will not die. So I've taken a bit of damage, not a lot, not a ton. I'm still in pretty decent fighting form. We've got that guy. There he is again. Help, buff flyers. Can't. It doesn't help that my team isn't really in a position to assist on this guy. But really, if flyers are that fragile, then they shouldn't need 2 or more bots to take them out of the sky. That's all I want, is to knock him down on the ground, and then anyone can basically drive up to him and shoot him in the face, and it's game over for him. But he's done a good job of building a better bot, and it's paying off for him in this case. So, we are eventually going to gain a measure of control over this situation. And when we do, it's time to push up, of course. As soon as we get to a situation where the density of enemies is dramatically reduced, we want to push up and sort of take the fight to them. Keep pushing that that calculated aggression, and then everything just goes to shit. Because look at the, first of all, the terrain here is very difficult for this bot, and game over. No flipper, and I don't even think a flipper would work with this bot. Now, I do have enough guns on the side to keep this guy discouraged from just hovering over me and blasting me until I'm basically dead. But at this point, I'm out of the fight, realistically speaking. Not only that, but if you look, there's like 2 guys left on our team, including me. I'm not doing anyone any favors by sitting here just waiting. Not the least of which being myself. There we go. Saving myself some time. So, the issue being the wheelbase is too narrow, front to back. This is an opportunity to kind of demonstrate what we can do with the Armor Core system again, because sometimes you try and explain things to people and they don't believe you because they haven't seen it. Well, here's another opportunity to see it. We're making adjustments to what is essentially a Triforce chassis, and it's not complicated, it's not difficult. We clear a spot for the axle on the wheels, we clear a spot for the wheels, we fill in the spots that used to have the wheels in them, and everything's right as rain. It's as though it was done that way by design from the very beginning, and it's not complicated, it's not difficult, it's not time consuming. It just takes a little practice. So what we're going to do is, I just wanted to demonstrate, again, as another opportunity to, peacefully demonstrate that things aren't as bad as sometimes people make them out to be when it comes to modifying features on a bot with this design. And then we're going to go into a practice map, just briefly, if you want to watch a tool around and see the difference that it made, just moving these tires out on the front and back to try and gain that stability that we were lacking. And if it works out, that'll be basically the biggest Achilles heel that we had for this bot, is the lack of stability and the inability to control the bot reliably. So I'll let you watch the rest of the modifications, and you can watch the practice match footage if you like. Next episode will be more match footage in this bot, because it's hopefully fixed now, and we'll go test it out. And we've still got all kinds of other projects on the go. We've got the Panther Bee that hopefully someday we'll have the CPU to finish. We've got a guide coming out for the beginners and people who've been playing for a while but still feel like they're not sure exactly what to do, where to go, why anything is doing anything. We'll have that out as soon as we can get it ready. If you want to be notified when I add those, you can subscribe to my channel. You can also follow me on the social media. Links for that are in the information section below the video. Please leave your comments and feedback. Thanks for watching, guys, and take care.